Good afternoon. I'm Trinace Riggs, School Board Chair, and I hereby call this abridged meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. on this 11th day of July 2023. The purpose of the abridged meeting is for the school board to address limited matters that cannot be put off until the next regular school board meeting. School board retreats and abridged meetings are not regular meetings and follow the agenda set forth for the meeting or as otherwise adopted by the school board at the retreat or abridged meeting. Members of the public will be able to observe the school board meeting through live streaming on schoolboardvbschools.com/meetings/live, broadcast on VBTV Channel 47 and on Zoom. Thank you to those that have joined us in person and online. Madam Clerk, will you please announce those school board members in attendance?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Present in the Holland Road Annex Einstein Lab are Chair Riggs, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Brown, Mr. Callen, Ms. Franklin, Ms. Martin, Ms. Melnick, and Ms. Owens.
Thank you. And Mrs. Manning is not here due to family being in town for extended vacation. Our Vice Chair, Ms. Weems, had a family death out of town, and Mr. Culpepper was unable to get out of his training for work early enough to be present. So let's begin with our moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in observing a moment of silence. Please stand as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adoption of the abridged meeting agenda. Are there any other? Nope. Does anyone have anything to say? Okay. Ms. Anderson.
At our last meeting, we met very late, and we did not vote on committee assignments. But we did vote 11-0 unanimously that we would vote on the proposed bylaw change and then vote on committee assignments at this meeting. That unanimous vote was the same thing as a directive to follow up at this meeting. Therefore, since the agenda was supposed to include the vote on committee assignments, but was changed by our chair at the last minute, and then it was published, the agenda for today's meeting was published without that included, we can't make any changes back to it today because this is considered a special meeting. But I just want to say that that should not have happened. And the reason I'm saying this is that I hope in the future, if this board ever votes unanimously again to move something to a next meeting, that the change at the last minute, right before it's supposed to be published, never happens. I think the public needs to know that those committee assignments were supposed to be voted on today, but I was told that we have a bylaw that prohibits us from changing anything that was published because this is considered an abridged meeting. So I just felt like that needed to be said. And I'm sure we'll be voting on committee assignments at the next meeting, but it's not right the way it was handled. And I hope that will be remembered in the future.
Ms. Owens.
Thank you. I just want to kind of agree with what you said.
Point of order, Madam Chair, is there a motion on the floor right now? Or
No, I asked if was there anyone that wanted to speak before we adopted it. Nope. I asked, was there anyone that wanted to speak?
No?
You can take discussion on the adoption of the agenda, so that would have been more
Okay, then let's adopt
control
the
order,
agenda.
but you could have taken a motion, a second, and talked about it before you voted.
Okay. Did you make the motion
I'll make the motion.
to adopt it?
But now,
You already said what you
yeah,
needed to say.
I've said
Okay,
what I
so
needed to
the
say.
second person needs to speak too. Mrs. Owens.
Okay, I'll second the motion, but, oh, Ms. Melnick seconded it, so I'll just say that I agree, it's a concern. And it doesn't need to be a unanimous vote, the meeting before. Just needs to be a majority. That's how we do business. If the majority voted that something was going to be handled at the next meeting, we would expect to see it handled at the next meeting. And so I'd hope in future meetings that we have that accountability. I need it to come from the chair. And that is important for our processes. So, thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Ms. Brown, would you like to speak? Thank you.
I would
Ms.
just,
Melnick?
I agree with Ms. Owens and Ms. Anderson, and I would like to state that perhaps if the other two board members that could have been here were present today, I'm very upset about that. This was an incredible retreat that a lot of people put a lot of time into, and I don't think that a family vacation warrants that when Friday afternoon, everybody was going to be present. I postponed a surgery that was scheduled for today to be here, and I could have been done. And as elected officials, we make the commitment to the public, and those that are present today, thank you for upholding your end of the bargain. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion by Mrs. Anderson, a second by Mrs. Melnick. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Of the agenda.
To adopt the agenda. Sorry.
Madam Chair, we have 7 ayes.
All that are against, please raise your hand.
We have no nays.
No nays.
Ms. Anderson, how did you vote? I did not see your hand. Okay. Then, Madam Chair, we have 8 ayes. The motion did pass to approve the abridged agenda.
Thank you. Now we will go to our next, which is the adoption of the approval of the minutes for the June 27th, 2023 regular meeting. Are there any modifications to the June 27th, 2023 regular school board meeting minutes as presented?
Madam Chair, I will make a note that I believe on page 11 of the agenda, I made a notation that board member, that Dr. Spence and Dr. Robinson left. I put down 1:07 p.m. It should have been 1:07 a.m. So I'll make that correction on the agenda, on the minutes.
On the minutes, okay.
We gave up.
All right. Are there any other changes to the minutes or additions or deletions? Okay. Hearing none, I call for a motion to approve the June 27th, 2023 minutes as presented. Ms. Martin, and seconded by Ms. Brown. All that approve of that, please raise your hand.
Madam Chair, we have 8 ayes. The motion did pass.
Okay. Information, A, forecast of regular school board meeting agenda topics. This is, was put off from the last meeting to this one. And so this is for the first quarter, starting July, and it includes July, August, September. And Dr. Spence, could you please
Yes, ma'am.
review that with us?
Yes, I will. I will remind the board, this is the moving document. This is how we plan agendas, and so this is the opportunity to weigh in on things that need to be on the agenda. That said, it doesn't have to be approved this evening. This is for information purposes, and can be amended along the way if there are things that come up during the course of business. That said, I'm going to skip the 10th and the 11th because we have just handled that, and I'm going to talk about the 25th. Right now, under workshop, we have dual immersion. I will note that we are adding an information item based on our conversation of the retreat around wellness leave days, and we will also seek to put that on action for your consideration. You can see there what other information is on there. We have a number of new courses, and then the bylaw, which was discussed earlier, will be on there as well. Moving on to August, we do have a conversation about food services student accounts and a conversation slated under workshop for just updating the board on our return to the school administration building, which is slated for the fall. There's a closed on there, and I would note, and I would just say, you probably need to talk to Ms. Linetti about your plan and process for that, because that would not obviously apply to me. It's going to be what you want to do with Dr. Robertson. The intention would be to bring an information item forward on gifted learning plan amendment from DTOL, and then under consent for the items that were in information prior to that. End of August, you've got a workshop slated for an overview of the summer learning program and how that's gone, as well as a discussion about a recovery school, just to continue that conversation and or close the loop on it. There is a standing information item that comes every time about this year on the program evaluation schedule, which the board ultimately approves. And then there will be PRC recommendations from the August meeting there as well. Moving on to September. Right around the corner, hard to believe. Your workshops for your first September meeting include the staffing update. That's an annual update that you get from HR. You'll learn a little bit more about what has happened for staffing for the new year, and of course, our efforts around retention and recruitment. And then combined with that, you'll also get an update on the Your Voice employee input process. And for information, that is also the time of year when we begin to be able to talk to you about the standards of learning student performance. So that's when we begin to get the verified scores in from the state. And then at the end of September, you've got slated for workshop an update on Green Schools National Network partnership, which is very cool and I think you will enjoy. You also will get an overview of the work performed this summer by school division services and how the school opening has gone from the operational perspective. Also intend to bring to you at that time an update on the PPEA interim agreement work and where that is in process. And then of course, the next forecast for regular meeting topics. Any questions? Anything missing?
Ms. Martin?
If we could add a legislative update, maybe September 12th, hopefully we'll have a budget by then, and have time to review that, and then, Joel Andrews can come in and give us a briefing.
Okay, and
September 12th.
I will
September
I will
12th.
let you know that the staffing update is typically a pretty long one, so I'd recommend that go under information if you're okay with that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Spence. And B is,
I don't think there's been,
oh, there isn't a B. I'm sorry, we're still on,
just going action.
yeah, the action. Okay. So the personnel report and the administrative appointments. I need a motion. I call for a motion to approve the July 11th, 2023 personnel report administrative appointments. Moved by Ms. Franklin and seconded by Ms. Melnick. Any discussion? Okay. I call for a vote to approve the July 11th, 2023 personnel report and administrative appointments. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Madam Chair, we have 8 ayes. The motion did pass.
Okay. This is the conclusion of the, oh, that's right, you need to present to our people. I'm sorry, Dr. Spence, I was in such a hurry. Dr. Spence, y'all just came to watch us do this. You have administrative appointments and recognitions. Yes, you do.
Thank you. And I'll start with the appointments that were just made, as those folks won't be here, but will be recognized at the July 25th meeting. And so I'll begin with Amanda Frederickson. Amanda has served in Virginia Beach since 2004. She's been a teacher at Salem Middle School. She's served as an administrative assistant and an assistant principal across a number of our middle schools, including Plaza, Lynn Haven, Salem, and Independence. Most recently has been serving as an assistant principal at Virginia Beach Middle School, and we're pleased this evening that you've accepted our recommendation for her to serve as the next principal of Salem Middle School, so we congratulate her. Also want to note Darcel Johnson. Darcel has served in a number of different capacities, including as a residential counselor, as an access advisor with the Access College Foundation, a school counselor, and dean of students in Norfolk Public Schools. Served as guidance department chair at Kempsville High School. Most recently has been serving as administrative assistant at Princess Anne High School. We're pleased this evening you accepted our recommendation for her to serve as the next assistant principal at Princess Anne High School. So congratulations to her. I want to also recognize Erin Vickery. Erin has served as a teacher in Spotsylvania and Norfolk, and since 2009 here in Virginia Beach was a teacher at Tallwood High School. She's been a math specialist across a number of middle schools, including Bayside Middle School, Corporate Landing, and Lynn Haven Middle School. She's been a school improvement specialist at Bayside Middle and Bayside 6th grade campus. Currently serving as school improvement specialist at First Colonial High School. We're pleased this evening that you accepted our recommendation for Ms. Vickery to serve as the next academic dean, well, I should say, not our recommendation, the Green Run Collegiate Charter Board's recommendation to serve as the next academic dean of Green Run Collegiate. So appreciate that. And I got it. This is 2 pages for me. We didn't say paper. I appreciate you.
Just carrying it over for me.
Appreciate you, Cheryl. Thank you. Man,
He meant it.
where is the faith? All right. I'd also like to recognize, and I'm going to ask her to stand up because she actually is here. Danielle Galucci is here. Could you stand up, Danielle? Thanks so much. So, well, you want to know what you're clapping for? Hold on one second. So Danielle has served with distinction in a number of different school divisions across the Midwest and in California. She came here in since 2014, she served as coordinator of language arts in the Department of Teaching and Learning. She was principal at Luxford Elementary School. She has been the executive director for elementary teaching and learning in the Department of Teaching and Learning, and most recently has been serving as the senior executive director of elementary schools in the Department of School Leadership. And this evening, we are pleased that you have accepted our recommendation for her to serve as the next chief academic officer in the Department of Teaching and Learning. Congratulations. And I will just mention that the reason for that is because of our chief academic officer's departure, and we just want to know, we will see him again, and so we'll have an opportunity to say goodbye to him on July 25th, but we want to congratulate Dr. Kip Rogers, who will be the next chief academic officer in Newport News Public Schools. Congratulations, Kip. And we do have some folks here for recognition this evening, and so we want to take a moment to do that as well. So if I could ask Jody Benson to stand up. There she is. So Jody has served in Virginia Beach with distinction as a teacher at Rosemont Elementary School, Allenton Elementary School. She was a program compliance support teacher in OPEC. She's been an instructional specialist in OPEC. Most recently has been serving as an administrative assistant at Bird Neck Elementary School. And we are pleased that the board accepted at its last meeting our recommendation for her to serve as the next assistant principal at Bird Neck Elementary School. Congratulations, Jody. And I think you have some guests with you. Would you like to introduce them? Thank you all for being here. Next, if I could ask this stranger to stand up, Beth Bianchi. So you probably recognize Beth. She has served with distinction in a number of different capacities, including here in Virginia Beach as a teacher at Newtown Elementary School, Allenton Elementary School, Trentwood Elementary School. She served as an assistant principal at O Donation Center, assistant principal at Birdneck Elementary School, and she served from 2013 to 2022 as principal at John B. Dye Elementary School. We are very pleased she has decided to come out of retirement and rejoin the division as the next principal at Pembroke Elementary School. Congratulations. And I don't know, Beth, did you bring any guests with you? You didn't bring the Admiral? All right, he's busy. Okay, that's fine. Well, we know he's very proud of you, so. And if I could also ask Brianna Coburn to please stand up. So Mrs. Coburn has served, again, with distinction in a number of different capacities, including as a teacher in Norfolk Public Schools and here as a teacher at Tallwood Elementary School. Most recently has been serving as a school improvement specialist at Salem Middle School. And we are pleased that you've accepted our recommendation for her to serve as the next assistant principal at Larkspur Middle School. Congratulations to you. And I believe you also have guests.
I do. I brought my baby, TJ, and my other big baby, my mom.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. And then I have one more. If I could ask Emily Hitzman to please stand up. So we are pleased that you are recognizing her. She has served with distinction here in Virginia Beach since 2002 as a teacher at Salem Middle School, and then most recently as an administrative assistant at Kempsville Middle School. We're very pleased that last board meeting, you accepted our recommendation for Ms. Hitzman to serve as the next assistant principal at Corporate Landing Middle School. Congratulations. And do you have guests? Congratulations to you all. We do appreciate all of our guests who come in attendance for these meetings. We do like to celebrate with you these appointments, but we also like to say thank you because we know it's a commitment on the part of our administrators that goes well above and beyond the school day, and we know you share them with us, so we thank you for that. And that is it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming. Congratulations, and we're all excited that you're going to be with us this year in these new capacities. That is the conclusion of the abridged meeting, and that is the and so we will stay in this room for our closed session, which is next. So this abridged meeting, oh, that's right, before we close the abridged meeting, go ahead, read into the closed.
I move that the school board recess into closed session in accordance with the exceptions to open meeting law set forth in Code of Virginia 2.2-3711, Part A, Paragraph 1, 2, 7, 8, and 29, as amended, to deliberate on the following matters. Discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, and evaluation of performance of departments or schools of public institution of higher education where such evaluation will necessarily involve discussion of the performance of specific individuals. Discussion or consideration of admission or disciplinary matters or any other matters that would involve the disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record concerning any student of any public institution of higher education in the Commonwealth or any state school system. Consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. For the purposes of this subdivision, probable litigation means litigation that has been specifically threatened or on which the public body or its legal counsel has a reasonable basis to believe will be commenced by or against a known party. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed or to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. Consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consultant on a matter. Discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, namely to discuss A, superintendent search consulting firm interviews schedule, superintendent contract terms, and acting superintendent contract. B, status of pending litigation or administrative cases. C, consultation with legal counsel regarding probable litigation and pending litigation matters. Is there a motion?
We have a motion. Motion and seconded. Motion made by Ms. Franklin, seconded by Ms. Brown. All in favor? Raise your hand, please.
We have 7 ayes. The motion did pass.
Who's the eighth one?
And, are you in favor of this motion? So 8.
So we have 8 ayes in favor of the motion to go into close.
Sorry about that.
Okay. We're now in closed session.
Virginia Beach has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the school board of the City of Virginia Beach hereby certifies to the best of each member's knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Is there a motion?
I need a motion. Made by Kim, seconded by Mrs. Martin. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Ms. Brown, are you certifying closed? No. Okay, so we have 7 ayes. And how many nays? We have 1 nay. So the motion to certify closed did pass.
Closed. We're adjourned.
She signed this one, or?